So I want to start by saying there's a lot of places in California, and they all vary a lot in price. Also, I want to let it be known that for most of the info in this video, other than some of the obvious numbers and statistics, it came from my own experience living in California for the first 23 years of my life. I also want to say this is absolutely not a cheap place, and some of the cities are much shittier than you might expect. Los Angeles. Similar to my last travel cost video, let's start with the cost of flights. Using skyscanner.com, the website I use for all of my flights, I chose September 12th to 19th, 2022. A random date a few months in the future, but using it as a baseline for all the flights I list. Also, these flights will be landing in the most well-known and the most annoying airport in California, LAX. These flights will be most cheaper than most others, landing in smaller, less-known airports like John Wayne in Orange County. As for prices, a round-trip flight from Seattle, Washington costs around $180, from Dallas, Texas around $260, from Miami, Florida around $220, from New York $280, from Boise, Idaho, where I am, $220, and wow, those are shockingly cheap actually. Well, I guess no one wants to go to California. All right then. How about international flights? From Calgary, $330. From Mexico, $180. Man, $180 for an international flight? That's it? What the hell? Alright, well, we're going far then. Alright, Paris, France, $600. Damn, that's still kind of cheap though. Alright, let's go further. In Tokyo, Japan, $580. $580 for a round trip from California to Tokyo. We're going to Tokyo. Alright, normally I'd list more, but I think you get the point. LAX is very accessible from everywhere in the world, so you're probably going to get a really good price if you book in advance no matter where you're coming from. Alright, let's move on to attractions. And, ooh man, there's a lot of them. If you're rich, of course. Everything that you can possibly think of exists somewhere in California. Beaches, surfing, jet skiing, snowboarding, biking, bars, Hollywood, Santa Monica Pier, even real-life GTA. Everything. This video would be about 10 hours long if I listed everything, so I'm just going to do some of the most well-known ones that people are genuinely interested in. Starting with the happiest place on earth, Disneyland. It's a great time if you're willing to deal with huge crowds and paying $120 for a single park ticket or $180 for the park hopper pass for both. Similar to Disneyland, there's also Knott's Berry Farm and Six Flags Magic Mountain. I've spent a lot of time at Knott's Berry Farm over the years. I've always had season passes for there, and it's the one that I recommend most. The rides are great, it's less crowded, and last time I checked at least, it was the cheapest one of these. One day at Knott's will cost you around $90, still a little bit expensive, but you don't have to deal with a ton of really small kids. That's more of like a Disneyland thing. At Knott's Berry Farm, they have roller coasters, they have good stuff. I like it. You can get a season pass for the whole year for $140. As for Six Flags, well, I guess I was wrong. Six Flags day pass is only $65 right now, and a season pass is only $120. You can literally get a season pass for Six Flags for the same price as a single day at Disneyland. Six Flags is the one that has these big roller coasters and the best ones for like older people. Well, it's not old, but you get it. Man, Six Flags for $120 for the year. Honey, I'm going to Six Flags. Oh no, almost forgot. Universal Studios too. I haven't been here, so I actually did forget about this one. One day there is $109 and a season pass is $150. Not too bad. I've seen pictures, I've seen videos of people that I know that go there, and it looks like a really cool place. One of my friends actually worked there too at a movie theater inside of Universal. So I guess aside from amusement parks, because, you know, not everybody likes having fun, there's also the national parks, like Joshua Tree, Death Valley, Yosemite, Redwoods, Sequoia, and so on. If you really want to experience the beauty of California, this is the way to go, because as much as I am biased against California, it really is a beautiful place because there's so much to do there. These are definitely the way to go, the national parks. For only like $10 a day, and they're all vastly different from each other. I was actually told that the Redwoods is where Endor from Star Wars was filmed. So you can imagine what it looks like if you've seen Star Wars. If you haven't, you're just, I don't know what to say. See Star Wars. Do it. But on the other hand, if you're more of a city person, you can go visit Hollywood, the Santa Monica Pier, Beverly Hills, downtown LA. And although they might not cost you anything to walk around, but have fun paying an arm and a leg for a single meal, the transportation to get there, and anything you buy while you're down there. On a much different note, if you want to take a jet ski trip to Catalina Island from Long Beach like I did, it'll cost you about $300 for a day trip, which was incredibly worth it. That was a ton of fun and a great experience that I did. It's absolutely f***ing brutal though, so be sure you can handle a physical workout. It is insane. Some other good things to check out if you're willing to drive a little bit are Big Bear Lake and Lake Tahoe. Lake Tahoe is essentially just a bigger version of Big Bear Lake. They're both lakes, clearly, with cities kind of surrounding them, and they're beautiful places. Tahoe's way, way bigger than Big Bear, but if you live in Southern California, Big Bear is kind of just the go-to getaway spot because it's only like 2 hours away from Orange County, and around the same for LA. In both spots, you can rent boats, paddle boards, go fishing, jet ski, parasail, and all the other lakeside stuff that you can imagine. Some companies are more expensive than others, but for something like renting a boat to explore Big Bear Lake, or in my experience, I actually did that at Tahoe, it'll cost you around $200 for the whole day, which isn't too bad. Some of the places make you pay for the gas in it too, so that can be slightly more expensive. Renting a paddleboard, though, is only about $15 an hour, and way more fun, in my opinion. Big Bear is also a great place to ski and snowboard in the winter, and is actually where I went last year with 2 of my friends, and it's the only time that I've ever snowboarded. Unfortunately, I lost my GoPro and got a concussion when I fell really bad towards the end of the day, so I have no footage to show for it, but here, future Nick, put a picture on the screen of me looking like I know what I'm doing. So coming back to the beaches, stores around there are generally very expensive. Whatever you buy there, whether it's food, clothing, or just beach supplies or whatever, or knickknacks, you probably want souvenirs. If you want to rent a surfboard down at the beach, it's around $20 an hour, which isn't too bad considering you're only going to be doing it for maybe an hour or two because it's brutal and it's very difficult. But that also depends on the beach that you go to. If you go to like a more well-known one like Newport or Huntington, it's going to be a little bit more than if you go to some random place somewhere along the coast that nobody's heard of. And like same with Malibu, it's going to be way more expensive because it's more of like an upscale beach. Alright, well I think that's enough for the attractions. I think you guys get the point. There's literally anything and everything that you could possibly think of in California. So on to food, if you want to be a cheap ass and go to McDonald's for every meal, not gonna lie, that's a very solid option. It's how I lived for a while. But if you want some real food, you might have to pay a bit. Steakhouses that serve $50 plus small steaks, sushi spots with $20 rolls, or even massive Italian food portions from Buca di Beppo for $30. There's a lot of options. Personally, I'm a big fan of Asian food, so I recommend getting ramen or yakisoba at one of the many good Asian food places. My favorite restaurants around there, or in Southern California, I guess. I can't speak too much for Northern California. My favorites are Izakaya Takase, a Japanese restaurant in Fullerton, having a dinner tray with many different items for around $16, I think it was. Maybe slightly more if you get something fancy with it. There's a place called Kopan Ramen in downtown Fullerton that you can build your own ramen bowls for only about $15. I've been there a lot. That's a really good place. Or if you're feeling Mexican food, PALAPAS Tacos in downtown Fullerton, where you can get a $10 fat burrito or a bunch of really cheap tacos on Taco Tuesday. There's a lot of good options around California, but since SoCal is so close to the Mexican border, there's a lot of good, authentic Mexican food. Some even as cheap as $2 for a taco. Just stock up. Go for it. That's the way to go. That's the California diet. Now for transportation. Oh dear God, the transportation. When you're renting a car or Ubering everywhere, you better have time and money. SoCal traffic is some of the worst in the country, especially near LA. Getting an Uber will be on the higher side of what you're used to because of the god-awful gas prices in California. Not even kidding. My mom just sent me a picture today of a gas station that's charging $6.25 per gallon at an Arco. And if you don't know what Arco is, that is the low-quality, crap, cheap gas in California. Maybe other states too, but I know it's in California. Taking the bus is a solid option due to its low cost, but by personal recommendation, just take the train. You can travel from LAX to OC for like $12 and it only takes an hour. And if you want to rent a car, you're likely going to be paying a few hundred for the week in Cali. However, there's a website called Turo that lets you rent cars directly from people. So as long as you're okay with driving a Mini Cooper or some ugly Taurus, you can get a car for as low as like $23 a day. Don't have to go through a big company. Just Turo.com. Not sponsored, but it should be. Shout out. So I'm recording this part like a month after because I forgot until now, but accommodations and hotels are also very pricey here. Depending where you stay, I got an Airbnb in Santa Ana for 4 days and paid $600. And you might be thinking, well, yeah, but you probably stayed in a nice Airbnb. No, it was barely even a studio apartment. I searched up prices for hotels around the LA area, and here's a map showing some of the prices based on location. They are not cheap. If you want to stay in the heart of LA or somewhere near all the attractions within walking distance, you're going to be paying a pretty penny for that. So now that I've gone over flights, food, attractions, transportation, the last thing that I want to mention is crime rates and just the general hospitality of people in California. Spoiler alert, it's not good. Do not walk around in LA at night. Stay away from Compton and the surrounding area. And while you're driving, be overly cautious of terrible and aggressive drivers. People in California are known for not being incredibly friendly. You'll absolutely find some great people, but in the bigger cities, you'll notice that people just do not give a fuck about you or your opinion. I was incredibly surprised when I came to Idaho that everybody here is so friendly, because I'm so used to California where everybody's just rude and way too opinionated. If you go to a bar, you'll very likely see a bar fight. Stick to the nicer areas and you'll be fine. Or if you prefer not to, go explore those bad areas, go see what you want to see. I'm not going to stop you. Go experience what you want to experience, whether that's good or bad. Oh, and on a side note, the weather, it's either blazing hot or it's raining. So good luck dealing with the bipolar weather. But overall, California is incredibly diverse in terms of people, geography, prices, and sometimes even the weather. Check it out. See the national parks, see the big cities, go fall off a snowboard, go to Disneyland. Just go experience what you want to experience. And sorry if I sounded very biased in this video, I just have very mixed opinions from California. I've spent so much time there and I've seen a lot of what there is to see. On a vacation, it's probably a great place. Let me know what other videos you guys want to see, and thanks for watching. Like the video because I'm desperate, and subscribe or I'll send you to Compton. Peace.